Channel. I'm Susan Wagner, editor of Country Business Magazine, and I'm here in Apex, North Carolina with Pam and Mac Thorpe, the winners of our Retailer of the Year contest. They have a wonderfully creative, decorative, primitive store here called the Rusty Bucket. When they started the store 3 years ago, they started it with a vision of exactly what they wanted it to look like. So, Pam, Mac, tell me a little bit about what you envisioned the store to look like back in the days.
Yeah. Well, I guess it got started when I asked her what would she expect when we opened the doors. What would you want your customers to feel when they come in? And she said,
I want it to feel warm and cozy, and I want them to feel good when they walk in. And then we looked at each other and said, how do we do that?
yeah, how do we do that? So we got to thinking about, we wanted wooden floors, and we found out that behind the wall behind us here was plaster covered, so it was brick behind it. So that was great. We were going to have a brick wall all the way down, take the plaster off. So then we had to get the old wood, so we tore down a hay barn and a tobacco barn, and we put the wood floors in. And then we went antique shopping for a few things, and what we really went to look for, down the wall here, somebody put a conduit pipe into brick and chipped away at this beautiful brick wall, and then what happened was we needed a column. So we found a guy who had done some restoration and had tore down an old house in Richmond, Virginia, so we bought a column from him. Two green doors that are in the back that you've seen, and that railing right here that we put in. And so what happened was we began to realize we were creating atmosphere in the store from the beginning with how we put it together, and it really wasn't going to be one bullet to create the atmosphere, because then you needed the inventory to put in there. And I think after it's all said and done, what really creates the atmosphere is the people who work here, and how they interact with the customers. And we have a lot of customers that come by just to walk through because they say they feel so good coming through here.
Yeah. So when we were planning the store, one of the things, we were sitting talking one day, and Max said, you know, wouldn't it be really neat if we could take all this old wood that we've got and come out of the wall and do this storefront? And I'm looking at him like, you've got to be kidding. But we started talking more and more, and Mac used to be a draftsman in a previous life, so he said, let me show you how we can do this.
So I sat down on some old drawing equipment I have, and I drew the floor plan, because we already had a lease on this space, and showed where, and I put a fireplace in there because I thought it'd be cool to have a fireplace and a little sitting area we called a keeping room. And then we were going to get some appliances to sell, Elmira Stoveworks. So I said, instead of having them just sitting on the floor, let's have a real kitchen. So we put a working kitchen in the back. We began with the checkout in the middle of the store, and has since moved it because it was more functional under the country store build out we had, which is located right here. And it started from this plan. The plan basically gave us a template. It gave us a guide which to follow with. You know, put the country store build out, the fireplace and the kitchen, and it gave us a view of the elements that would help build the charm and the character. But we knew all along that it was each piece. It wasn't a silver bullet. It wasn't one thing that would make the place the character. It was the inventory. It was the vignette decorating. It was pictures on the wall. But in the end, all of that is lifeless, because I believe it's the people that work here and the people who come as our customers that create this wonderful environment we have here. In fact, we have on our door, enter as strangers and leave as friends. And I truly believe our customers would tell you that's what happens.
Some of the great things that I like about the store, and part of the reason we chose you as this year's winner, are the build out that you did where your cash register counter area is. With nice tin roof and all bringing out, so it looks like its own little section of store. Wonderful beams that you got from tobacco barns.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are known as tier poles in a tobacco barn, and if anybody from the South has ever cropped tobacco, they know what they are. They're the poles that you hung the tobacco sticks on to dry the tobacco, and we wanted to put them across to try to hide the ceiling tile and to draw the whole rustic element of an old country store into one piece.
Right.
So the poles across the roof did that, and it gave us something to hang lamps and lighting and so forth on.
And the beams really look like they're natural where they're placed, even though they were brought in.
Right.
Right.
It's easy to do. It's that we could have easily moved in and kept it the way it was with this long rectangle building. But it's very easy to go into. Well, it's not easy, but it is easy to go in and look at something and take it to the next level. You don't have to own the building to put some beams overhead. And
We
put
sat down with our
floors.
landlord, and I think this
Yeah.
would be important for anybody that's going in business, because we don't own the building, we lease it.
Right.
So we sat down with our landlord, I showed them the plan, and they were ecstatic to support us to be able to do the structure in their building. And people don't realize how long and narrow the building is because we broke it up. You walk in, it's one level and one type of wood running one way. It raises up about 4 inches, you know, and you have a ramp, and the wood is thicker and wider and runs the other way. So people walk through, and as they browse through, they don't realize it's actually a long, narrow room because of the way it's built. It's kind of an optical trick, so to speak. It helps you browse around and go through, and you don't realize how long and narrow it is.
Tell me a little bit about the reasoning behind the fireplace TV setting area.
Well, I guess we wanted the fireplace just to add some of the warmth and character to the store. The TV area became a place that we could allow husbands and children to sit. And we put the TV in. We've got cable, so mother comes in with her children, and she's
Cartoon channel.
She's fighting with her kids, and Mac always says, we can turn the cartoon channel on in the back. So the kids sit back there and they watch TV. Husbands come in and they sit back there. We'll have a pot of coffee on. It just adds to the warmth.
Yeah,
and
we're in basketball country, and a lot of ladies like to bring their husbands over on a Saturday that they're playing basketball. So now they know that we have the game on. So if UNC or Duke or State or some of the local teams are playing, you can bet that TV's on. I've seen as many as 25 men and their sons standing in that back corner there while their wives were shopping, not paying any idea knowing what they were doing, but they were stuck at the TV, and their wives would come out and go shopping down the street, and they'd still be here watching the game.
So it's kind of a customer service.
Yeah, so it's a customer service element that's really paid off.
And in the back, you have the Elmira Stoveworks set up in the kitchen area,
Right.
where you display specialty foods, and you have local chefs come in and
Right.
do demonstrations.
Oh, yeah.
So as I tell people all the time, we not only sell them, but we use them.
Yeah.
We bake cookies back there. We'll have hot cider. Like you said, the chef comes in and uses them. People are always surprised when they open the refrigerator and see food
it's
in the
in there.
Yeah,
refrigerator.
and every child that comes here, we'll open that refrigerator.
See what it is.
Yeah, wow, it's got stuff in it, Mom.
But it does. It adds a lot to the store.
Yeah.
Now, when you're working with a property that you don't own and you do have to lease, a lot of people will say, "Well, my landlord won't let me do that sort of thing. I can't do that." But how can they work around that, or
Well,
what can you tell your landlord to try to get him on board?
I think number one, if you have a reasonable plan, and you can put the plan down on paper, and if you don't have the expertise, I think, because you will need a plan of some type to get your permits,
Right.
i.e. done by an architect or an engineer or a certified draftsman. I just happened to be a draftsman in a prior professional life, so I did drawings of this type, floor plan layouts. So we sat down, drew the plan out, as I told you earlier, and walked through it with our landlord, and they were very, very much supportive. I mean, they just went overboard to help us. And what we did was we also negotiated in our lease, there's an option that we proposed it, that this could stay behind if the landlord purchases from us, because it came out of our startup budget to build it out. And the landlord has an idea that if we leave one day, he may like to keep the store looking like this, so he has the option to actually purchase this. So what you do is you sit down, you be upfront with your landlord, be honest, but also show a plan that you've thought through and it's reasonable.
I think one thing to keep in mind is that if you can convince a landlord, if you can tell them the benefit of creating a unique atmosphere is going to make your business be better in the long run.
Show him some added
Right.
value to his real estate.
Right.
And then,
Right.
you have a profitable business staying there for a long term, as opposed to a business that might come and go within a year because they
Right.
weren't unique and weren't
Yeah,
special.
exactly.
So, any tips or advice you'd like to give to anybody when they're creating an atmosphere in their store?
I think you should think it through and believe in what you want to provide, and find out early on from your customers, are you providing that? And one way we found out early on that we were providing this atmosphere was we got comments or testimonials from our customers, either verbally or via email, or they'd send us a card. And one customer was a school teacher, and she'd had a very rough week. And she was driving home on Friday, and she decided to come by the Rusty Bucket. Now, we found out about this afterwards when she came in the next time, but she said she'd had a real rough day, and she wanted to let us know how much she enjoyed the atmosphere in here because the day was so rough, the week was so rough with the kids at school. She taught middle school, and she decided to come by the Rusty Bucket, not to buy anything, but to walk around and to re-energize herself so she would feel good for her weekend. And the next time she came in, she told us about that.
So that was probably one of the
Yeah.
most rewarding things.
Yeah.
Like we found it.
So we felt like, you know, we got it. And then the other one was we had a gentleman come in one Saturday morning, and he was talking to me. In fact, we went out and sat in the rocking chairs in the springtime, and he said, I just want to let you know, my wife's been depressed lately. And when I was driving home from work yesterday, when I got home, I told her, I said, in the morning we're going to get up. It's Saturday. We're going to go down to Apex. We're going to have breakfast at the soda shop, and I'm going to let you go shopping at the Rusty Bucket. You need to get out of the house, because that place always makes you feel good when you go in there. And he says, I appreciate you, because we give our customers a lot of attention, and when she comes in here, we give her attention, not knowing she was having some problems. But he said it makes her day when she comes in here, and that was another testimonial. Mm-hmm. So you can get some feedback from your customers, because they'll tell you.
Yeah, they're both wonderful stories, and they certainly attribute to the great store you have here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.